Amod, you have created many servers. Okay, you can delete some of them or you can keep only one or two servers. Okay. Okay, so today we need to discuss about Docker containers. Okay, yesterday class we're discussing about Docker images. Hope it's clear for you guys how to create the Docker images. Any questions or confusions? And so Amod, for answering to your question, so you asked me the question, right? Like a Docker file, like if at all you want to create another Docker file, how to create that? So, but in one folder, only one Docker file only we can create. That's the reason you can create another folder, and you can inside that folder you can keep the another Docker file. Like that it will work. But in one folder, only one Docker file only we can able to create. You maybe can give a test is another folder name, and inside that folder you can log in and you can able to create another Docker file and you can build the image with a different name. Image name also should be different because image
Same,
name.
this Docker file image can be added to another container also, sir.
Another container. So you can create an image. Using that image, you can create a new container. Got it? Like assume that using this Docker file, we build the image. Correct. This is reflecting here. This is our image. Uh, which one? Fedora 6 p.m. custom. This one. So you want to you create a Docker file, another Docker file. Okay, in the Docker file, in another Docker file, I mean to say, in the Docker file. So you mentioned the same kind of things, and maybe you trying to install some other packages. Okay, that Docker file you wrote, and using the Docker file while building an image, right? So don't give the same name. You can modify the name. You can give the different name. Then it will take. And using that image, you can create the container. Using that new
Both
image,
the
right?
images are will be available, sir.
Both the images will be available. In this Docker image, Docker file image you created, that one also available, and along with the new Docker file and Docker image you're gonna build and create a container, that's also available. Okay, I'll show that in the next class. Anyway, another topic is there. Docker file, complete big topic will be there. Docker file. I'll gonna cover up in the next class that one. Okay, there you'll get to know like how to create another Docker file and so using the Docker file, how to build the image and create the container. I'm gonna show that. Will it be fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then today we'll discuss about containers part, Docker, PS, not there, PS minus A. This is going to list out stopped and running containers. Both it will going to be reflect. So now the container is stop state. How to start this container? Docker space, STAT start space, container name. If we give this, the container will be started. Container will be started. If we do Docker PS, enter, see the container is running up 14 seconds ago is there. Now next step, a container is a runnable instance of an image. Remember, a container is a runnable instance of an image. One word about container means using image we can create the container. Correct. That means if you understand simple way, if you run the image, if you run the image, then it become a container. You running the image is called as a container. Docker container is a lightweight. That's the reason the size will be bytes or kilobytes only. Docker container is a lightweight, standalone, and executable package of software that includes everything needed to run application, code, runtime, system tools, system libraries, and settings. So Docker container is a process that is isolated and has its own file system. So own networking and own isolated process tree separate from the host. Nothing but each and every container having a different configurations will be there. Those configurations like file system type ext4, ext3, xfs, like this the file system types will be there. The types also could be different, and own networking protocols can be initiated, and also isolated process can also be placed in each and every container compared to the Docker host. You can create, stop, start, modify, delete a container using the Docker API or maybe using CLI. So you can connect a container one or more networks, attach storage to it, or even create a new image based on its current state. So that means image cannot be duplicated. I mean, container cannot be container. Assume that like this: you created a container, correct? So in that container, you modified some changes. You logged it to the server and we logged into the container and you made many changes. Now, how do you take those changes back up? That backup is like a tar file. We can take a backup, or maybe you can take it as a another image also can be taken. Another image also can be created, or tar file also created. Like yesterday we created the image as a tar file, right? For sharing with some other people. Same way for image, for a container also we can able to create like that. Then look at this diagram. We have a Docker image will be there. Using that one Docker image, we can able to create multiple Docker containers. Each Docker container, we have a containerized application is running. That means end users application will be there, right? Where people will search and they're gonna log in, right? Like this applications will be there. These are the commands can be used in the context of Docker containers. Okay, so yesterday you guys asked me, like once I created the Docker container using minus dit or it, then how do I log in? Because once you've done the work, you'll come out of the container, right? Again, you want to log into the container and you want to do the work. How do you do that? So for that, we'll use the command called, the first command is reflecting here, right? Docker container attach command. This command will be useful for getting inside the Docker container. Let me log in and we're gonna show that Docker container attach attach container name. If I give this, then it will allow me to log in. Okay, make sure. Right now I'm in the Docker server. Right now I'm in Docker server. After I enter this, so then I could able to log in inside the container. See, now I'm inside the container. Now I'm able to log in inside the container. So then cd space enter. Last time whatever the things I'm created, right, I can see them. Test folder I created. Inside the test folder I create some files also. This everything will be there. Okay, if at all I want to create any files, right, here I can create the files. Hmm. Look at, I created the file. This is my file. Today's state is reflecting, correct? Like this I can able to create the file. If you want, we can create one more folder also. Mkdir inside cont container. Okay, that is the use of Docker container attach command. But remember guys, when you want to exit or you want to come out of the container, at any time you want to come out of the container means, such a moment we can able to use control pq. That means I'm inside the container now, I want to come out of the container, so then we need to use the command control pq, because last class we used exit command. So the impact of the exit command will be, when you run the exit or the logout command, it will straight away it will come out of the container, and it will be container will be going to be stop state or the excited mode we call it as. Okay, that's impactful in the organization. That's the reason we will be logging out safely. How to log out safely means we can press the control button and you can PQ, you can type at the same time. Control button PQ. If you type this, then you'll come out of the container. See, look at I came out of the container, came out of the container. If I do Docker PS, right? So then it should be running straight only. See, up 6 minutes ago, it's getting up, it's running only. That's the use of attach command. Then Docker container commit command, next one. So create a new image from a container changes, nothing but now I modified few changes, right? Using that I'm creating a new image. Create a new image from a container changes. In the container whatever you modified, right? Based off on that we are going to create a new image for that. So Docker container commit, then container name. If we give that, then the image will be created. Let me give this. Then container name, Docker container commit, then container name. Now it's created the Docker contain image. When you do Docker images, it should reflect. See, this image is created. That is the second one. Next, Docker container CP command. Copy the files and folders between a container and the local file system. Remember, guys, I'm in local system now. I'm in local system now. If at all I want to copy some particular files into container, then I can able to use this functionality. Docker container CP command can be used to copy the changes from container to local, local to container. Okay. So this is the command Docker container CP file name, then the container name, then the path we need to give that. So then the files will be copied. Let me fetch the file, any of the file we can set and I'll copy the Docker file. Okay. Docker container CP, Docker container CP. Then what you want to send? I'm sending Docker file. This is the one I'm sending. Docker container CP, then file name, then where you want to copy. So I want to copy to this path, right? This is the container colon where you want to copy under the root, inside the container root path I want to copy. Then look at successfully copied the file to that particular container. Like this we can able to use a command to copy. Similar way, Docker container CP we can use from online to local also we can copy. That means container to local also we can able to copy. If you remember the path or maybe something we can able to copy. Let me show that as well. Source, which path here I have the file called abc.txt will be there. abc.txt space dot. This means I'm copying back to the current path. That means current path. See, it was copied back to local. If I do ll, I can see abc.txt file is there. Okay, that is a cp command. Then Docker container exec command, execute command. Run a command in a running container, Docker container exec, then container name or id, then we can give the command what you want to create. That means without logging inside the container, without logging to the container from outside also we can able to run the commands inside the container. Okay, that's the exec command. Run a command in the running container, Docker container exec, then is the options we can able to use to create. Docker container exec, then container name, container ex is container name. Then what you're trying to create? I'm creating a file that, right? ram.txt, then created. How to verify? In the place of touch, right, I'll give ls, then should list out the files. Its file is there. Okay, reflecting. That's the use of exec command. Then container export command, docker container export command. Export a container file system as a tar file, tar archive, nothing but as a backup file also can be copied. Okay, docker container export, then container name minus o, container file name. Docker container export, then container name minus o, minus o, then file name. The tar dot gz. Okay, let me enter. It will going to create the tar file. If I do ll, you can see Ubuntu DevOps 6 p.m. tar file is created as per the value. That is the export command. Then docker container inspect command. Like for example, you want to know the IP address of the each and every container. You want to fetch something from the containers. Then we're gonna use docker container inspect command. Display the related information on one or more containers. Docker container inspect, then container name can be given. Docker container inspect container name. Like this, more information will be reflected. You guys can see here entire container information will be listed here for this particular container. ID, created path, argument, state, status running, state running true. Like this, start date, when you started, finish date, which image you're using, what is the worst path, then the name of the container, restarted, how many times you restarted. Like this, multiple things. At the end, if you look at, we can see the IP address details. At the end, you can see IP address details of this particular container is reflecting. Okay, that is the inspect command. Let's move into the other commands. In case if you guys have any questions or confusions, guys, please let me know about this. Are we good? Okay. Then next set of the commands, docker container kill command. Nothing but the container is running right now, right? If at all you want to kill that container, if you want to kill that container, then we can able to use docker container kill space container name. Then the container will be killed out. But again we can start. Okay, but it will going to be stop state. Docker container kill container name. Look at earlier when I do ps, it was reflecting, correct? After I run this command, then when docker ps, it's not reflecting. That means the container was stop state. The container was stop state. Then docker container logs command. So fetch the logs of the container. Fetch the logs of the container. Docker container logs. This docker container logs command, what is the significance of this command will be inside the docker server, the container. Inside the container, what are the commands you executed, right? Complete history we can able to see. That's the beauty of this particular command. That's a container logs command. Then docker container ls command, docker container ls command, docker ps command, both are same only. Remember guys, docker container ls, docker container ps, both are same only. Docker ps and docker container ps. Docker container ps minus a, docker ps minus a, both are same only. Nothing is there. Here also nothing is there. Then docker container port. In case you want to create a new container with some port number need to be mapped to this particular container, then we're gonna go with port commands. Docker container port. Then if you give the container name, right, it will going to list out the ports which are using. So docker container port. Docker container pivot port. Then we can paste this. Nothing is there. That means it's not there. Ports are not mapped. Then docker container rename command. Rename a container. Docker container rename. Old namespace new name can be given. This is a old namespace, new name. Okay. If I do docker ps minus a, it should reflect the new name. See, already was 6 p.m. was there. Now it's the latest is reflecting. That is port command. Docker container docker rename command. Sorry, docker container restart command. If at all you want to restart this docker container means docker container restart container name. But you need to change the name here. Restarted. There's a restart command. Any questions on this page, guys? Any questions or confusions? Please let me know.
Sorry, possible to ask a port number rather.
Port number means if you already mapped the port number to this particular container, right? Then the port will reflect. But we didn't map the port numbers. In upcoming class, we'll write a Docker file and another Docker file. There I'm gonna show that what is this port and how to map the port number. I'm gonna show that.
Okay, fine, got it, got it.
Then moving on to the last section of the Docker images commands, sorry, container commands. If at all you want to remove the container, Docker container rm command can be used to remove the containers. Docker container rm, Docker rm, both are same only. Then if I give the container name, this will be removed. But it is running state, it's not able to remove. So then I need to give -- force. Then forcefully removed. Now if I do docker ps -a, nothing should reflect. See, not there. Like that. Then docker container stop. Let me create the new container docker run -dit -p 8090:9090 -name. So image created, I'm inside the image now. I mean container. Control PQ. I can come out of the container. If at all I want to stop this for PS, container stop, container name to be stopped. Docker container stats will going to show the statistics. Nothing is reflecting because container stop state. I'll start the container. See, running is reflecting. Docker container start top command is there. Container name. This will going to reflect the statistics of the top command. Then update command, you want to update something means docker container update command can be used. CPU shares int relative wide number of CPUs decimal. Range of CPU is there only one CPU available. Okay, then 0.0 row 2.5 I'll give. Update the CPU shares. Like this we can able to do. These are the commands which are properly used in the Docker. Okay. In the next class we need to learn how to create the effective Docker file. Okay, very big Docker file how to create using all the Docker commands. That will going to show it in the next class. Okay, any questions now about the Docker images and Docker containers what we discussed so far? Please let me know if any questions or confusions, guys. Again we'll be showing this how to create the Docker file.
Is it just
Yes, sir.
standard command of CPU, sir? CPU something you mentioned, no? By using that help command.
If suppose this particular container is there now, if CPU capacity is very low, what will happen? For example, let me give a simple example. When you're purchasing a laptop, when you're purchasing a new laptop, you ask for a configuration. Am I correct? 2-core CPU, 5-core CPU, like i3, i7, i5 processor, like that. And you'll ask for RAM.
Yes.
That means if you have more CPU,
Yes.
more RAM, then speed will be more. Like for example, if you compare i3, i5, i7, which is better? i7 is better because speed of operation is better and the technology is better and latest trending things only there in the i7. But i3, i5 you compare, they're a bit slow will be there, older generations. Correct. Similar way, for this particular container wants to work properly, we can assign the CPU numbers. The CPU number will lies between 0.01 to 1. So that means I given 0.005, half of the CPU value I given. That means only one container is only there. Right? That's the reason half of the percentage of my Docker server one CPU is there. Out of that 50% CPU is allocated to this particular one. Remaining 50% of CPU will be there for Docker host, like that. Segregated the hardware resources. That's it. Got it?
Okay, sir. Okay. Got it, sir.
These are the things you can see. Memory we can allocate, CPU we can allocate, then block IO weight we can allocate. Like this, the many things can be allocated. Okay.
You have to use Docker container update hyphen hyper help HLP.
Correct. See, you can see CPU shares relative weight, number of CPUs on which to allow execution 0, 2, 3, 0, 1. Like this also we can able to give. Memory also can allocate memory limit, memory soft limit, like that.
But in between somewhere you use Z command, no sir, something. But here they are not. We may use Z command, no Z.
Z is not there, sir. Here, there's a 2.
But you use that.
Two I use it, but it's showing
Z.
Z. No Z. Maybe it. You saw this was
Somewhere you use that.
you compared as a Z seems to be that.
Okay.
This is the one I used it, Docker container, but it was saying that the box CPU itself 1 CPU. How are you trying to put 2? That's the reason. Then I minimize this 50% CPU only I'm using.
Yes. Two. Okay. I thought it is Z. Okay. Two. Got it. Yes, you're right.
Okay, that's about the Docker images and Docker container, guys. In the next class, we're going to learn how to write the effective Docker file using all the Docker commands. Then how to write the Docker file, I'm gonna show that. Okay, but before the next class, right? You guys can recall the keywords like arg, from, then maintainer, label, run command, then workdir command, cmd command. Like this, the commands we use, right? Those commands you guys can just recall. Like what is the purpose of the command I written in the Docker file? If you recall that, tomorrow those things will be repeated. Along with those things, there are many commands will be also be using. Okay. Cool that. Let me stop the server. Okay, thank you. So 8 o'clock we'll connect for AWS class.